was Allah when this horrible thing was happening to me? Where was Allah, and why did Allah allow such a traumatic incident to take place in my life? SubhanAllah, this is a question that I've been receiving a lot, and I think that anyone that is in the position of counseling people, caring for people, have come across this question. Was Allah not there when I watched someone beloved to me die a very slow death? Or when I went through a situation in which someone showed me such cruelty, and that cruelty prevailed in this life? All of us, as we look back and reflect on some of the trials that we have been through, while we cannot rationalize each and every single trial, we can look back and perhaps we can think of certain wisdoms and certain things that came out of that, even if that was the simple building of character, or the closeness that we gained to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the strengthening of faith. And maybe that strengthening of faith came after a period of crisis. But what happens when you're in the middle of it? What happens when you are in your darkest moments? And subhanAllah, every single person, as they are going through their darkest moments, are going to have voices and influences around them, whether they are direct or indirect, that give context to what they are facing. And so, for example, you find in Musa alayhi salam's case, as they reach the sea, the people of Musa alayhi salam say to him, with the army of Fir'aun behind him, "Inna lamudrakun." Look what you got us into. We're caught. It's over. We're going to be butchered by this army of Fir'aun. And you can imagine the effect that can have on someone, the pressure that Musa alayhi salam is already under. You're not helping the situation by telling me, "Inna lamudrakun," we're caught. Let me figure out a way out, right? But it was the yaqeen, the certainty of Musa alayhi salam, not in the stick that was in his hand, but "Inna ma'iya rabbi sayahdeen." My Lord is with me, He's going to guide me to a way out. I don't know yet what that way out is. I don't know how. I don't know if that means that lightning is going to come down from the sky and strike the entire army of Fir'aun dead. I don't know if that means that we are going to die as shuhada, as martyrs perhaps. وَلَا تَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ قُتِلُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أَمْوَاتٍ. Allah mentions, do not say of those who are killed in the way of Allah that they're dead. Ashab al-Ukhdud, the people of the ditch, Allah mentions ذَلِكَ الْفَوْزُ الْكَبِيرُ. They won, they succeeded. Because while in the vision of this world, they were killed, with the first strike to each and every single one of them, they saw their place in paradise. Asya alayha salam, radiallahu ta'ala anha, if you were watching her, you would think, what a horrible ending for her. But before the stone even touched her body, Allah already had her soul taken to Him in paradise. So Musa alayhi salam could have said, look, we're going to die as shuhada, like the magicians that said, Amantu billah, I believe in Allah and I believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun. Allah did not drown the army of Fir'aun then. All of them were killed and they died as shuhada. They woke up as magicians and they went to sleep that night through death as martyrs. But he says, Inna ma'i rabbi sayahdeen. My Lord is with me. He's going to guide me. And that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives him that miracle. When the Prophet ﷺ was in the ditch in Al-Khandaq, and you have these companions that are facing the starvation and an army that is seeking to eradicate the Muslims once and for all. What did the hypocrites say? مَا وَعَدَنَ اللَّهُ وَرَسُولُهُ إِلَّا غُرُورًا. Allah and His Messenger did not promise us except for delusion. Can you imagine? You're sitting there trying to dig the ditch to survive. And there are people that are saying, what's the point of this? Throwing their axes in the air, we're done. Allah and the Messenger ﷺ only promised us delusion. But they prevailed. And the Prophet ﷺ smiled at that group of people and said, Allahumma la aisha illa aishul akhirah. Oh Allah, there is no life except for the life of the hereafter. فَاغْفِرْ لِلْأَنصَارِ وَالْمُهَاجِرَةِ. Have mercy upon and forgive the Ansar and the Muhajir. They came out of it. The hypocrites that said, this is over and Allah and His Messenger only promised us delusion, they were deprived of the reward of that moment. But if you were in the ditch at the time, it would have been a fitna for you. It would have been a trial and tribulation for you as you're digging that ditch. You know what? How did we end up in this situation? We were fine in Medina before the Prophet ﷺ came to us, and now we are facing eradication in the face of this army from Mecca. And then on a deeply individual level, Ayyub alayhi salam, as he's going through what he is going through, and the only two companions of Ayyub alayhi salam, Ayyub overhears them saying, لَقَدْ أَذْنَبَ أَيُّوبَ ذَنْبًا عَظِيمًا. Ayyub must have done something awful. Because if Allah loved Ayyub alayhi salam, He wouldn't punish him this way. You see Ayyub alayhi salam having lost everything. And you see him curled up on a bed, barely able to breathe. And can you imagine the impact on Ayyub alayhi salam when he hears, you must have done something awful for you to be in this situation. And then Yaqub alayhi salam, the father of Yusuf alayhi salam. Is it not enough that Yaqub alayhi salam has suffered with the kidnapping of his son by his other sons and not seeing him for all of these years? And as he smells the scent of Yusuf alayhi salam, and the people of the household tell him that this is just your craziness. You've just lost it, old man. You don't know what you're talking about again. You've driven us crazy talking about Yusuf. Forget about Yusuf, enough about Yusuf, move on from Yusuf. That's what they told him. Move on. As if he needed to hear that. And he responds with protest. I'm not complaining to you. I'm complaining to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm not complaining to you and seeking answers from you. I am pouring my heart out to Allah. Do you think that was the first time Yaqub alayhi salam cried for Yusuf alayhi salam? Don't you think that maybe 5-10 years in to the disappearance of his son, that there could have been a moment where, okay, should I stop now crying for my son Yusuf? But look what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to him. But we often tend to limit ourselves to the immediate dimension of pain that we are feeling. The immediate dimension of pain that we are feeling. Don't limit Allah to your immediate experience. Understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has charted out a trajectory for you. And you better believe that everything that has happened to you, you don't have to go back and rationalize every single hardship you've been through and sit there and say, maybe this happened for that and I can rationalize it. No, but that the collection of your experiences were given to you in a way to facilitate the best version of yourself in this dunya and the akhirah. I want you to listen to me again. The collection of your experiences, I can promise you, are there to bring out the best version of you in this dunya and give you the best version of Allah's reward in the akhirah, if you heed the lessons. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to heed those lessons. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us His perfect reward. Allahumma ameen.